It's the Rob Carson Show. Are you ready to be podsmacked? Now, here's Rob Carson.
Hello. Welcome to episode number 68. 68 of the podcast. Zeroing in on number 69. Hope you're having a glorious day, night, whatever. Thanks for joining me. I do appreciate it. You can check out the website. It's robcarsonshow.com. The Facebook page is also at Rob Carson Show. Twitter at just Rob Carson. A couple quick acknowledgments before we jump into the show, and we got plenty of stuff to do today. Today is not going to be not a whole lot of politics today. Episode number 67 was about the Tomahawk missile launch by the Trump administration, and there was some really good stuff in there too. Just a lot of stuff. So I decided we'd have some fun with some other things. I want to invite and just welcome, I should say, people who check out redmaryland.com. It is a terrific political blog in an otherwise bat crap crazy state. I lived in Maryland for 10 years, loved me some Maryland, lived in Germantown, loved some crab feasts. All my friends are liberal. All of my friends were liberal, but there are a lot of people, including the Maryland General Asylum, that are bat guano crazy. Hey, that's my new bat crap. I know, humor of a 14-year-old boy. Anyway, check out redmaryland.com. Getting ready to release a line of gear that is politically incorrect, that is conservative-leaning. The brand is Conservatees Maryland, all right? We're going to feature T-shirts and hats and mugs and mouse pads and hoodies, and some will be kind of national. Some will be Maryland-centric. And, man, if you live in Maryland and you're conservative, you will love these because they are funny. We disarm people with humor, but we make a powerful point about being libertarian and conservative. So make sure to check out Red Maryland. Big supporters at Red Maryland. God bless you guys for featuring this podcast. It is a gift. It really is to be on here. So thank you guys. And just a tremendous relationship I have with guys at Red Maryland. It's wonderful. Also, if you get a chance to, we got a sponsor, and we're getting sponsors as the show progresses. Grass Monsters KC. Now, you may not live in Kansas City, but let me tell you about a lawnmower called the Dixie Chopper. It is a stainless steel mower. They've got a variety of sizes. They are quite simply the most badass rig you could ever have in your garage. These are riders. They start with your home models, and then they go all the way up to commercial. They start off with some of the lower models, the Z2, and then they top out at the Excalibur. They got the brand new Silver Eagle's what I have in my garage. I got a Silver Eagle. Oh, my God. So spectacular. They got the new one called the Black Hawk. It's a light commercial mower, and you can actually raise the mowing deck, lift it up, sharpen the blade, hose it off, whatever you want to do. It's wonderful. It is wonderful. They also have Hustler mowers now out of Kansas. Midwestern, American-made, folks. I don't care where you live. You live in Maryland, have one shipped. Order it. Find a local retailer. But if you're in the Kansas City area, grassmonsterskc.com, grassmonsterskc.com. And they are at 5520 Raytown Road, Raytown, Mo. So let's get started, folks. Let's get started on this not-so-political show today. I am ashamed of PepsiCo. I am ashamed of those who went after this Kendall Jenner ad. Now, I don't give a rat's behind about Kendall frickin' Jenner. All right? She's nothing but eye candy. She's, borderline. She's just go do porn. I mean, you're right there. You and Kim, just go do porn. Because the only reason you exist is because your boobs and your rear end. Just go do porn. YouTube ad opens with Kendall Jenner posing for a photo shoot. She opts to join in, pulls off her wig, and jumps into there's a protest, right? Now, there's no sign on this protest. It's just, it looks like a peace protest. They're just marching down the street. And unlike Black Lives Matter, there weren't urine bombs being hurled at police. There weren't rocks being hurled at police. There weren't people being punched. There weren't storefronts being ransacked. No, it was a peaceful process, which makes me kind of wonder why Black Lives Matter immediately thinks in their very narcissistic fashion that it's all about them. Black Lives Matter. Oh, they're just raising all sorts of hell. And Pepsi has pulled the ad out of shame. You know why? Do you know why? Because Kendall Jenner, in the middle of the protest, takes a Pepsi and goes over and gives it to a police officer rather than throwing a rock or a urine bomb at him. Or rather than getting in his face and calling F this and saying F pigs and pigs in a blanket, roll them like bacon. Instead, she gives the guy a Pepsi. Oh, the outrage. Oh, the outrage. You know what? We're sick in the damned heads if we have a problem with this. I heard the late night talkers going off. They're calling it stupid that she joined a protest and gives a cop a Pepsi. Now, Pepsi is saying that they were trying to essentially, the protests against the Vietnam War and the flower power movement and sticking a flower in the gun barrel. That's what they were trying to mirror. I think it's a sad state in America that you can't put an ad with a peaceful protest, unlike Occupy, unlike Black Lives, unlike anti-Trump, and give a police officer a Pepsi. I'm just sick by this. Sick by it. Ridiculous. Oh, this isn't political, but I mean, it is kind of. Joe Biden's got a book deal. He and his wife got a book deal. Yeah, it's Flatiron Publishing. He said, the president said, we're so deeply honored to be the publisher of these books by Vice President and Dr. Biden. Vice President's book promises to give us all a deeper understanding of recent political history. I believe that Joe Biden's book is a coloring book. I could be wrong, but I think it's a coloring book. This is not good for the economy, unfortunately. Half of us are working paycheck to paycheck. Are you living paycheck to paycheck? Here's the deal. I'm unemployed. I'd just be happy with paycheck. Paycheck would be good. Although we are getting some endorsements and we are doing some work on great stations around the country. I'm going to be on WCBM in Baltimore. Very soon I've been on KMOX St. Louis, WLS Chicago. So that's helping, But we need a little more. We need a paycheck. 50% of us are woefully unprepared for a financial emergency. Nearly 1 in 5 Americans have nothing set aside to cover an unexpected emergency. Nearly 1 in 3 Americans, 31%, don't have at least $500 set aside to cover an unexpected emergency. Americans are crippled under the same amount of debt as they had during the recession, because the things haven't gotten better. You know what? Listen, I know I won't say I'm a victim. We went through hell. My wife and my family, we went through hell. We lost everything. And it's hard to come back. Hard to come back. But things are turning around. Things are turning around. Okay. Nivea. There's another advertising campaign. Now, this one I don't know. I could see, it's so bad that you have to be prepared for an attack, no matter what you do, because there are politically correct groups out there and people just itching to be offended, Nivea, German body and skincare brand, has a campaign that says white is purity. They're German. Anyway, their campaign, they pulled it following intense backlash from social media users who accused the company of racism. The company ran an advert for the invisible black and white deodorant, which featured a photo of a woman draped in a white sheet with the slogan, white is purity, across the bottom of the page. They were going to do one that showed that, it works as good as a men's deodorant and antiperspirant. They were going to call it white power. They moved on. No, I don't think they did. Anyway, this is one of the tweets. This is so racist. I don't even know where to begin. Speechless. In future, refer to clothes or products, not colors. Geez, dear God in heaven, we can't say a color. You can't say a color? Nivea released a statement. We're deeply sorry to anyone who may take offense at the specific post. After realizing that the post is misleading, it was definitely withdrawn. Diversity and equal opportunity are crucial values for Nivea. How about just your work on the facial products and the deodorant? Apparently, the company's parent company, Beiersdorf, said the ad was part of a broader campaign for the deodorant in the Middle East And that linked the color black with strength and white with purity in the Middle East. I think they used deodorant there. We never intended to hurt anybody or raise any wrong interpretations. We are so sorry for what we have done. We are so sorry. So there you go. Two big advertising fiascos this week. Mizzou, University of Missouri, shutting down more dorms as enrollment continues to drop. You'll recall a couple of years ago, or a year ago, Melissa Click, University Communications Director, called for Muscle to remove a student journalist. There was a concerned student 1950 protest. It was a joke trying to drag us back to 1968 on university campuses where racism, if it does exist, is almost non-existent, dear God. But apparently, growing trend, well, it's a shrinking trend, actually, with regard to the number of students. Total of number of dorms taken offline, 7, with the inclusion of 2 dorms named Respect and Excellence. If demand does not increase, that includes the total number of halls that will be offline next year to 7. Yeah. You know, I wouldn't want to send my kid. I wouldn't want to send my kid to a school where only one point of view is allowed. Okay? Only one point of view is allowed. And I don't want my kid to go there. And I don't want my kid to go to a place where he's threatened for having an idea that's outside of the mainstream or outside of leftist culture, I should say. Just another quick race story. Just a real quick race story here. Woman in Newark, New Jersey, approached a man at a gas station, Caroline County, Virginia. This guy is driving a Porsche, and apparently she said, "I hate fancy white people," and she yelled racial slurs at him. I'm sure Cracker was in there somewhere. Honky, maybe. I don't know. And bashed up his Mercedes real good and then hit him a few times. She is under arrest, and they're charging her with I guess a hate crime, although if you go to campuses everywhere, they say that hate crimes don't exist. Well, they can't exist against white people. You want to know how bad things have gotten in Chicago, by the way? It's gotten so bad in Chicago that, I don't know if it's an alderman or city councilman, calling for desperate times for children in Chicago being murdered.
Activist Tio Hardiman of Violence Interrupters suggested this, and he wasn't kidding.
Right now, the young people need bulletproof vests and helmets. Sincerely.
Dr. Matt Harrington was with Hardiman. He's CEO of Ammo Coating Systems and is behind legislation to require ammunition manufacturers to make bullets traceable.
And they say, okay, Mr. Smith, the bullets you bought are now in this poor 5-year-old's head over here. Explain how this happened.
He has signatures from the city's 911 operators. He said they hear the cries of anguish every day.
Could you imagine having that job in Chicago? Imagine having that job. Oh, my Lord. Absolutely unbelievable. Oh, before the end of the show, I'm going to do a little tribute to Don Rickles. Don Rickles passed away at age 90. He lived a long and glorious life, and he was a funny mother scratcher. He was a funny dude. Also, I guess Jimmy Kimmel shed a few tears last night on the TV show. You got to have your heroes, you know, and if you're doing comedy, Don Rickles was in a category all his own. Just an amazing guy. We'll share some audio from Don Rickles over the years and a little bit of Mr. Kimmel. His students at Northern Arizona University demanding the resignation of President Rita Cheng after she condemned campus safe spaces. Yeah. One student asked Cheng about her feelings toward the concept of campus safe spaces. Here's what she said, the president. As a university professor, I'm not sure I have any support at all for safe space. Gasp. I think that you as a student have to develop the skills to be successful in this world, and that we need to provide you with the opportunity for discourse and debate and dialogue and academic inquiry, and I'm not sure that is correlated with the notion of safe spaces as I've seen that. Bravo, bravo, bravo. Now get your ass to class. That's what we're doing, and safe spaces are all about that. It's about certain groups being targeted, and nothing is being done about it, said NAU senior Nina Wilson after walking out on Professor Cheng's forum event The NAU Student Action Coalition walked out of the forum event after the response, drafted a statement claiming that the president's resignation is necessary. I love these little punk asses who issue demands and they have no currency. They have no intellectual currency. They have no reason to demand anything. They have no leverage. I think they ought to throw every one of these little bastards out, to be quite honest. Everybody on this list, everybody who signs for the resignation of this university president should have their asses kicked out of school. Pardon me for this, but I'm just sick and damn tired of it. And by the way, they're citing specifically her response to the forum event. Creating segregated spaces for different groups on campus only leads to misunderstanding, distrust, and reduces the opportunity for discussion and engagement and education around diversity. NAU President for Media Relations Kimberly Ott told reporters about the event. Just last week, a student at Northern Arizona State was docked points on an essay assignment because she used the word mankind, which professors considered improper usage of a gendered language. Unbelievable. Honestly, can I do it? Can I do it again? Oh, I want to play my new sound effect. Here's my new sound effect. Yep, that is bat crap crazy. Bat crap crazy. Oh, speaking of that, MTV has scrapped the gender-specific categories for its upcoming movie and TV awards. In place of Best Actress and Best Actor, this year awards will honor a non-gendered Best Actor in a movie and Best Actor in a show. Okay. Okay. All right. The move follows the Grammy Awards decision in 2011 to dump gender distinctions between male and female singers, collaborations, and groups. I didn't even know that. I haven't watched the Grammys in so long. The MTV May ceremony will also include a nod to social activism by renaming its Best Fight category to Best Fight the System. Man. This is the first year the MTV Movie Awards has been redubbed the Movie and TV Awards. They are hosted by anchor and comedian Adam Levine. Divine. May 7th is when that'll be on, and when you won't watch it. Okay. There's so much to get to, so little time. Oh! All right. Now, I'm not into scary movies. I don't usually like them. But my son is goading me into going to see the remake of Stephen King's It. All right? Stephen King's It. And this looks scary as hell, by the way. It's coming out September the 8th. It is going to be on the big screen. It scored 179 million views in 24 hours. Now, you remember the original It. Tim Curry. Oh, my gosh. I haven't been able to make myself through that movie. Well, apparently, the only people who are really not excited about it is real clowns. People who do it for a living. An article in Mel Magazine talks to one group decidedly not stoked to see it. Real clowns. Yeah. Now, while your response to this news might be good luck clowns, reading the actual piece is sort of heartbreaking. In that clowns interviewed know how little clowns are like these days and seem genuinely crestfallen on the future of clowning, the dying profession. And the people who do it and scrape together a living have to grapple with the fact that it's cool and hip to not like clowns. And it is, this whole clown fear thing is like, it's really weird to have a trendy phobia. Oh yeah, I'm terrified of clowns. I'm not scared of clowns. Kidding me? I think very few people are legitimately scared of clowns. It's just trendy to be scared of clowns. Oh yeah, man, I've got that. And they'd be like, oh yeah, I've got clinical depression. I'm bipolar. That is so cool. So it's not doing much. And it started with John Wayne Gacy. Full article goes into details on the history of terrifying clowns in media, including last year's sudden uptick in the reported real-life scary clown sightings, which resulted in nobody being kidnapped or killed, which the real-life clowns interviewed look at as a scare they had sort of just gotten over, but with membership in clowning trade organizations plummeting, they see a bleak future. Balloon animals. I mean, think about the long, stretchy balloons that'll never be made. Yeah, it's kind of sad. It is kind of sad. I was never a big clown guy. When I was a little kid, I went to Ringling Brothers, and, it was okay. It was pretty funny. Cartoons exist. Clowns exist for little kids. Little kids, because the cartoonish features of the clown, the giant gestures they do. It's like mascots, right? They appeal to kids. They appeal to kids because they are larger than life. They are exaggerated. That's why clowns are popular. What do you talk to around your house other than people? You ever talk to your car? Yeah, you do. You ever talk to your plants? All right, I've got one plant in the front room. It is a Norfolk pine. I've had the sucker we got it as a little mini Christmas tree probably a decade ago. And I'll go in there and I will water it, and I will touch the fronds or whatever the hell they are, the needles, and I'll say, how you doing? I'll admit it. I'm lonely. I work at home. My kids aren't here. I have 3 dogs. I talk to plants. And I talk to dogs. It's called anthropomorphizing, giving human-like tendencies to inanimate objects and animals. Part of a natural byproduct of the tendency that makes humans uniquely smart on the planet, according to Nicholas Epley, behavioral science professor at the University of Chicago. By the way, he says, if you do these things, you're not insane. You're really smart. Okay? Sign of intelligence. Recognizing the mind of another human being involves the same psychological processes as recognizing a mind in other animals, a god, or even a gadget. I love my immersion blender. My God. Don't tell my rice cooker that. Shh. I love you, rice cooker and immersion blender. I like the immersion blender better. Well, this is pretty interesting. Chicago is considering denying high school diplomas if you don't have an approved plan. Yeah, new proposal would force students to provide proof of some kind of plan post-graduation in order to receive a diploma, whether that be a college or a job acceptance letter, proof of acceptance into the military, or some other approved path such as gap year program or acceptance into trade school. I don't think laying around getting high is on that. The goal here is to no longer have 12th grade be the end of our responsibility, Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel Wednesday said as he announced the proposal. The economy and business today require a minimum of 2 years post-high school. Illegal immigrant students would be exempted from the requirement, however, as well as students with life challenges such as a criminal record. Like, what are the illegals going to say? Well, I'm going to go to hang out at Home Depot on Saturday mornings and look for work. This is Emanuel again. We want to make sure our kids do not see graduation from high school as the end point, but all of them have a plan, and all of them have a specific acceptance on how to go to post-high school education. This is kind of meaningless. I mean, this is pretty meaningless, right? You can lie. Right? You can lie. No, I'm going to get an online degree from Trump University. I don't know. I think Chicago's got a lot more. I think they've got a lot more to be concerned about. Oh, and there was a Chicago teacher who was fired. The reason being this kid, this guy named is Vince Zebarth, and he was fired from Dwight D. Eisenhower High School in suburban Blue Island for making inappropriate comments to Shamar Cooper, a student who would not stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. A lot of times, teachers will have a main. I had a history teacher who's worthless, by the way, George Sorensen. He was also the driver's ed teacher. And apparently the teacher had it out with his kid for, disrespecting. Zeber said, I told him to stand and to honor the sacrifice and bravery of those who made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. It doesn't mean America is perfect or that we agree with everything on. We have an understanding. He was making a choice, and I was making a choice. His name never appeared on my sign-up sheet again, so I thought it was over. So he essentially refused to do driver's ed for this kid. Now he is gone. Parents of the kid are saying it's a restriction on his freedom of expression, which you don't have in high school. You don't. You're a child. There are lots of restrictions on speech in high school, and there should, because you're not adults. I know it's not fun to say, but it's true. California murder suspect has some very wealthy friends. A California woman is accused of killing the father of her 2 children. She's pled not guilty and to murder and directing her boyfriend and another man to kill Keith Green and dispose of his body. It did happen. She was successful. You know what the bond was to get her out of jail? $35 million. Raised by wealthy friends. Well, you want to talk about crowdfunding. I mean, you know, go fund me. I ordered the murder of someone and the disposal of the body. I did. Jeez. This is an ugly story. Mayor of Seattle has been accused of repeatedly raping teenage boys who were addicted to crack cocaine and paying them $10 a time. Ed Murray's now 61, reportedly, quote, raped and molested a 15-year-old boy for up to 5 years after they met on a city bus in 1986, according to a lawsuit filed on Thursday. 2 other men claim he abused them and paid them for sex while they were teenagers in the 80s. The mayor branded the claims categorically false, adding there was no coincidence that the allegations came within weeks of the campaign filing deadline. Could have been worse. Could have been collaborating with the Russians to throw the election. Murray was elected in 2013 after a long career in the legislature where he led efforts to legalize gay marriage in the state. As mayor, he pushed to increase the city's minimum wage to $15 an hour and address the homelessness crisis in Seattle. So we'll see. You know, innocent till proven guilty. Innocent till proven guilty. Millennials are delaying adulthood, and in a way, I don't blame them. And I said this before on the podcast, guys. Millennials went through their formative years with the Barack Obama administration. The economy has been lousy. It is not a time a good time to graduate. Not a good time. It was not a good time to be a young person. An 18-year-old was 10 years old and in 4th grade when Barack Obama took over the presidency. A 34-year-old was 26. A lot of kids were in school, in college, just getting out of college, and it sucked. And they've had to stay at home. You had Obamacare. That killed the full-time job. You know, you got kids who doing 2 jobs. The decline in manufacturing, the decline in building, all these things. They compared U.S. census data from 1980 in the most recent American Community Survey. 25 to 34-year-olds in 1980 with the same group today. Fewer millennials are married, live away from their parents, have children of their own, or own their own houses than the baby boomers of the same age group the year Ronald Reagan was elected president. In 1980, for example, more than 2/3, 68% of 25 to 34-year-olds were already married, whereas in 2015, just 2 in 5 millennials in the same age group were married. Only 20% of baby boomers of these ages had never been married. I know it's kind of confusing. A little bit confusing with all of the figures, but basically, yeah. I don't know if it's just abandonment of adulthood. I'm sure there might be a little bit of that going on. There is a little bit of the snowflake generation going on there, too, a little bit of the snowflakeage. But I think millennials just picked a really bad time to be born. Just not a good time to be born. And then when you're in your formative years, not good. All right, let's wrap things up with Don Rickles. Don Rickles died of kidney failure at his home in Los Angeles. This was on the 6th of April. Very funny guy. I'm going to start off with a little comedy from Don Rickles. A little comic relief here. A little montage of Don Rickles and what he was famous for, insulting people.
Bob Newhart made the claim that he was my closest friend. I have never met Bob Newhart.
Is that your wife, sir?
Jesus Christ.
I'll tell you this. What was it, a train?
Stand up, Frank. Be yourself and hit somebody. And all the guys with him went, Is that funny, Frank? Mike, it's so good to see you. I didn't know you were still on. Yeah. But this is a good jacket. You come in tomorrow night with cotton candy and you work the carnival. Now, nice. What's in your heart, right, Sam? Be proud. Brothers, we kiss, we hug. Any black on my lips? Don't write letters, folks. We cover them all. But now we're both happily married.
Absolutely.
You went through a couple of warm-ups, but
You finally dragged it out of me, didn't you?
I'll do the fun stuff.
Thank you, of course. When?
I don't. De Niro is sitting there. He's one of the great actors of our time. You ask him. So what do you want me to do? Drop my pants and fire a rocket?
Wow, spectacular. Here he is. There's this famous introduction from his Vegas show.
And now, here he is, Mr. Warmth himself, Don Rickles.
Now, here he is walking through the crowd, just insulting people at random. This is improvised. It's beautiful.
Look at this old guy spitting up all over himself, for Christ's sake. I hate that. I hate when you get old. Go home and die. I'll tell you this. What are you, Irish? Italian? Italian Irish. Oh, your father was a sailor? No, I'll tell you this. I spoke to the home. You're going back. I'll tell you this. The old lady's sitting there wheezing like it's normal for crying out loud. Chinese, Filipino, Japanese. 3 years in the jungle looking for your father.
Beautiful. Oh. Just, I mean, in a world of political correctness, what a glory. Doesn't that just sound good? Here he is joking with Frank Sinatra on The Tonight Show. This is spectacular.
What else is new, Frank?
Well, I'll tell you what's new.
The following people will report to an alley in Brooklyn. Manganzo Mambananzo. Un papi tumbaninzi. Aldo Gambano. See, with Frank, if I may say, Frank, because you've been singing and dancing and just breaking it up out here. With Frank, they always make it like gangsters, Italians are gangsters, Jews have all the money. Well, that's a fact.
I want to ask you a very honest question. I want an honest answer.
Sure, Frank.
Who is your favorite male singer?
Honest?
Yeah.
Dick Haynes.
Nice. Now, your kids will know him as the voice of Mr. Potato Head, Toy Story 2.
Potato meat, Mr. Angry Eyes.
I can't find my other eye.
It's mine. Give it back.
I forgot about that. I forgot that was Don Rickles. This is the end of a tribute for him on his 88th birthday. He would have been 91 in May.
I picked up a style of working in tough clubs and people making fun and yelling up and so forth. And I started to pick on people and always was love. My heart never had a bit of hatred in it.
Yep.
Never had a bit of any kind of a feeling of whatever they were, black, green, yellow. I didn't care. I just respected them. And I think the audience knew that. And tonight, to have this kind of an affair in my honor, I only pray to God my dear mother was here because she was my force. She kept saying, "You're funny, kid. You're funny. You're funny." And
wow. In a world where so many people are, pardon the expression, ass hurt by words, wasn't there was just a time where you could make fun of anything. You could, and again, in good spirits. It wasn't considered bullying, and yes, bullying it wasn't considered bullying, though. Bullying is serious. I get it. But there was a time you could say something about Jewish. You could say something about Chinese. You could say something about white people. You could say, and nobody took it personally. In fact, if anything, what an honor it would have been to have been insulted by Don Rickles. My God, wouldn't that have been cool? Jimmy Kimmel did a show on the 6th of April. Here's a little bit from him remembering Don Rickles.
He would always ask about my parents, my kids. When my Uncle Frank passed away, I called him and asked him to be the guest on that show, and which was a tough show. And he helped all of us through it. He gave me advice, and good advice, not the advice people give you just to hear themselves giving you advice. He would always say, "Keep my name alive," which he'd tell me to keep his name alive, which I thought was funny because, I was like, "You're Don Rickles. You keep my name alive."
Yeah, here's a little more of Jimmy Kimmel.
One night, they were all at a big table at a very fancy restaurant, and the restaurant was all white. Everything was white, the walls of the tablecloths, everything. And Don and Barbara, his wife, and Bob and his wife, Ginny, were at the table, and Frank was drinking, and he was not in a good mood. He was getting surly, which put everyone on edge. When Frank wasn't happy, you had to watch it. So they're drinking, and the food comes and the waiter brings a bottle of ketchup and puts it on the table in front of Frank. And for whatever reason, this sends Frank into a rage. He doesn't want ketchup on the table, so he takes the bottle, and a very crowded, elegant restaurant, he throws it at the wall, and the bottle smashes, and there's ketchup everywhere, and everyone in the restaurant stops. There's like a gasp. And Don, without missing a beat, turns and says, "Frank, will you pass the ketchup?" And Sinatra laughs, and everyone laughs, and nobody dies that night, thanks to Don.
There you go. Here he is reading some notes that Don Rickles sent him.
I saved every note he ever sent me. There were like 27 notes and letters from Don, and I want to read a couple of them. Dear Jimmy, thanks so much for inviting me and to your home for dinner, but to be honest, we would have preferred a 3-month trip to Venice, Italy. Dear Jimmy, thanks so much for the beautiful frame of you and I. Who needs Sinatra? Your picture of us together is much more important. Please don't show this note to anyone because it could cause harm to me and my family. Love, Don. Jimmy, thank you so much for the bottles of wine. We've been so busy crushing grapes with our bare feet, hoping to have wine for the holidays. And you came to the rescue just in time. Dear Jimmy, we watched your Academy Awards show. Barbara loved every bit of it, but here's what I thought. You were on camera too much. All in all, it was okay. We love you, so don't worry.
Really, really funny. Don Rickles was really, really funny. There are a lot of stand-up comedians out there. You know, Amy Schumer, pretty funny. Not like Don Rickles funny. Don Rickles was funny. God bless him. And you too, by the way. Thanks for listening. I do appreciate it. Thanks again to redmaryland.com for featuring my podcast. If you get a chance to check out my Patreon page, it's called patreon.com/Rob Carson Show. If you could, if you want to subscribe, it's like $1 a month or $5 a month or $10 a month, just to kind of keep the lights on. Keep doing this. Also on Facebook, let's not forget Rob Carson Show. And then, of course, robcarsonshow.com. And pay attention, because very soon you're going to find out about politically incorrect gear. Conservatees is the name of the line of gear that me and Sam Cangelosi are putting together. You're going to love it. This guy used to work for Walmart. He's a freaking genius. All right? We'll be back for episode number 69 very soon. Have a glorious day, night, whatever, and thank you for listening.
Thanks for listening to The Rob Carson Show. Friend him on Facebook at Carson Show, on Twitter at Rob Carson, and on Instagram, I think Facebook and Twitter are enough for now. We'll see you soon.